Hello, broadcasters. Welcome to episode 194 of the StreamYard Live Town Hall. My name's Gage, and I'm here with Dan, of course. Dan, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing well. It's been a good week. We have some fun topics to chat about tonight. For anyone new here, Dan and I are the founders of StreamYard, and we do these town halls every single week, Sunday at 6 p.m. Pacific, and we do them for a few reasons. One is to stay in tune with all of you, go through the same flow that you'll do with your own shows and productions. Two is to answer any of your questions. We love discussing your feedback and topics and requests. So feel free to leave that in the comments, and we'll do our best to get to as many as possible. And I always mention the three pillars of StreamYard, which are ease of use, stability, and professional stream. So if you're about those three things, StreamYard is the tool for you. I see people from all over the world tonight. Very cool to see. I think I saw Mexico and Montserrat, BC. Very cool. Yeah, Dan and I were in British Columbia for a long time.
All right, Merritt. Awesome. I've been to Merritt.
Claire from Australia, I think, here for the first time tonight. Nice to see you here, Claire. And before I forget, we have lots of awesome shows. And some of those are, we've got YouTube channel reviews with Dee and Daniel. Really, really great show, particularly if you're looking to grow on YouTube and learn more about how to grow on YouTube. They give really specific feedback by like choosing a channel and doing a full rundown of how to improve things like thumbnails and titles and what type of content to post. So if you're looking for specific feedback on best strategies for YouTube, really great show there. We have Enhance Your Live Streams the last Tuesday of the month with Nick Nimmin. Nick is a pro when it comes to all things video and especially live stream. So if you're looking for specific live stream tips, that show's all about that. And we've also got lots of new content. We've been including from Think Media and Roberto Blake and lots of other awesome, talented folks. So definitely check out the YouTube channel for that. And we likely will have some other shows planned in the future. And one thing we've been doing lately, just so you get to know a little bit more about us, we get to know a little bit more about you, is fun facts. And the fun fact we had for tonight was kind of a nerdy one, or maybe not.
A very nerdy one.
Favorite operating system? Do you have a favorite? I'm sure you do. Do you have a favorite operating system, Dan?
Not really, to be honest. I think so. Just in case for anyone that doesn't know, operating system could be Mac, Windows, Linux, Android, iOS. Those are kind of the big common ones. To be honest, I think it might be Windows, surprisingly. But none of them for me are a huge, strong, big favorite. How about you?
As a kid, it was probably Windows because that was the one I always used. As we got into actually building out StreamYard, I became a really, really big fan of Linux, which I don't know how many people would be familiar with, but Linux is oftentimes the operating system that is used when hosting like web applications and things like that. And I got used to just using it on my own computer as well. So I'm a pretty big fan of Linux, with Windows as close second. But yeah, let us know what your guys' favorite OS is. iOS is actually really impressive too, especially when it first came out. It continues to be an awesome operating system. I'm a big fan of
yeah, iOS. And I have a Mac now. No issues with it. I think it's totally fine. I love some of the older ones in the chat though.
Oh yeah, let me see. DOS. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Packer dudes, operating system, anyone that works, that's totally fair.
That's kind of my sense as well.
Chromebooks are pretty cool. Is the operating system for Chromebooks technically Chrome OS? I think that's what they call it. Yeah, Chrome OS is a slick one. I really like the model of essentially everything is in the web browser. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's definitely not great for certain things, but it is cool.
Cool. Hidden Treasure says, trying to make payment and unable to do so. We have 24/7 live chat, Hidden Treasure. So definitely, if you go to StreamYard.com/contact, there's a little live chat there. They'd be happy to help you with everything there. Let's see some of the initial questions we had. Hey, Michael, great to see you. It's been a minute. It's awesome to see you here. And yeah, of course, we're super happy to get your guys' feedback and launch features. Clarine says, question, will there be a virtual party for SY Town Hall number 200? We're trying to plan out what exactly we want to do for episode 200. We definitely want to do something special. So stay tuned. We'll do something unique for it for sure.
Yeah, we're getting pretty close, aren't we?
Yeah, it's rapidly approaching. Alva says, how do I download the app on my tablet? So there's not an app directly in the store at this time, Alva, but you can access it just by going to the website. So on your tablet, if you just go on, assuming you're talking about an iPad, which you might not, since you're talking about a tablet. So whatever, if you're on an iPad, use Safari. If you're on a different tablet, probably Chrome. And you can use it directly from your web browser. You'll be able to create broadcasts, join broadcasts without using an app. Yep. Let's see. Doggy Trader says, question, I just did a show with a few minutes of mute. Any chance of making the mute button larger and bright red? That's a good question, Doggy Traders. It's always something we've tried to iterate on because, it's not a good feeling at all if you're accidentally muted for a long portion of the stream. One thing we do is if you're muted and we detect sound, there is a notification that pops up, but we surely could think about making that pop-up maybe a bit larger and brighter. Any other thoughts on that one, Dan?
Yeah, it's also possible maybe the detection just didn't go off for you. We're always trying to improve that detection so that, it does go off when you're talking and you're muted, but it doesn't go off if there's just a random background noise or something. So hoping we can improve that. We do have some plans to try and make that better. But like Gage said, if maybe that was going off and you just didn't notice it because it can be kind of static up there at the top. And there's so many things going on when you're live that you might just miss it. So yeah, I hear you. That does suck. I'm glad you at least caught it a few minutes in, but yeah, we're always trying to make that sort of stuff not happen so you just don't ever have to think about it.
Absolutely. Mark has an interesting question here that it leads into our first topic. Facebook is definitely not an enemy. We love Facebook. They are fantastic. The recent thing you might be referring to is they did make a pretty significant change recently called Facebook Live online events. But we work very closely with Facebook. They have an awesome dev team and their live team is awesome. So they're very much great folks that we are not enemies with. We're good friends with Facebook. But yeah, Dan, do you want to talk a little bit about the recent change, Facebook Live online events? That Facebook shipped that changed about a week ago. Is that right?
Yeah, sometime this week, I think maybe Tuesday. So yes, I can definitely give some thoughts on this. So Facebook Live online events is a new way to schedule streams, and it's actually the way to schedule streams. So Facebook has gotten rid of the old way of scheduling streams. So just if everyone remembers, as of last week, if you were scheduling a stream, it would create a post and it might be on your page, your profile, your group. And then there was some good things about that, but there was also some things that were not so great about that. So with live online events, they've tried to solve some of those things. So for example, one of the things that's actually really nice about live online events is when you create one, there's one event or there's one link. So you create it and then you can send out that link. And then if your viewers are on that event page, when you go live, the page will automatically update and then they'll be watching the stream. Whereas if you're familiar, for the last maybe 2 years, that has not been the case. So if you, with the old flow, if you created a scheduled post, you'd send out that link, your viewers would go to the link, they'd see the post, but then when you went live, it wouldn't actually update the page. So the viewer would have to know to refresh the page. So there's a ton of cases where people would just be sitting there 5 minutes into the stream and they still haven't refreshed the page. So they're not actually watching you yet. So live online events does fix that, which is pretty nice. And then there's a few other things. So it also allows you to schedule farther in advance. So Facebook only ever lets you schedule up to 7 days in advance. So let's say you want to go live on Friday, you could schedule it for Friday, but if you want to go live on Friday 3 weeks from now, you couldn't do that, or you couldn't schedule it. Now you can schedule it. And then there is some other little kind of smaller things as well. Like with the old Facebook flow, if you scheduled a stream and then you didn't go live within 10 minutes of that stream, so like, you went past and maybe something was going on, you couldn't reschedule it, Facebook would actually delete it. Whereas with live online events, they do not delete it. They'll keep it around. So some little niceties like that. There's also some things we're hoping they can change. So for example, when you are streaming to a profile, if you have a certain privacy setting, it won't actually create a post for it. And there's just some things like that we're not as big of a fan of. So hoping that Facebook will be able to change a few of those. And then I actually think it will be much better in the long term. They're basically trying to fix some of the issues they originally had with the scheduled flow with this new thing. But yeah, it is a little rough around the edges and there's been some bugs with it and stuff. And we're kind of working with them to fix that stuff as fast as possible. But they are very responsive and we're continually having conversations with them. So hoping kind of the end state of live online events is that it's a great experience for everyone.
Yeah, definitely optimistic that the final result will end up being a positive change. But yeah, if anyone has any questions about the details of how it works, definitely let us know and we'll do our best to answer it. We have some other questions here. Claire says, question, what's the ideal amount of time before a YouTube stream you should schedule it? It's a good question, Claire. I don't know that there's necessarily an ideal amount of time. It mostly, I think, comes down to however much in advance you want to promote that live stream and share that link out and on other social media platforms or to your email list. I think that's mostly what it comes down to. I haven't heard too much about the date that something's scheduled affecting the YouTube algorithm or anything like that, but Dee and Daniel are definitely more of the experts on that. So maybe that'd be a good one to check out their show for. But as far as I know, I think it mostly just comes down to your preference and when you actually want to start promoting it.
Yep.
Let's see here. Mikey says, can the slides be reloaded instead of being deleted and re-added back? You want to take that one, Dan?
Can the slides be reloaded? Are you thinking he's talking about like slide sharing in the studio?
Yeah, I assume uploading the slide decks.
Can they be reloaded instead of being deleted and re-adding back? So the way slides should work for you is when you upload them or you import them from Google Slides, they'll be in the studio. And then next time, let's say a week from now, you want to use the same slides. If you click the share button at the bottom, you should be able to click on the slides that you've shared before, unless you actually manually deleted them yourself. So there is that step of, you have to click on the bottom and then click the previous slides, but we do save them. So we do save slides. So maybe let me know if I'm misunderstanding, but.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my best guess, Mikey, is maybe if you're using the screen share option as well, that'd be another case where you have to sort of reshare it. But the whole point of the slide sharing feature is that you can do exactly what you just mentioned, is sort of preload those slides.
Yep.
Scott says, what about the Facebook not allowing the stream to start after 10 minutes from scheduled show time? Has that changed? Yes, that's one of the positive things, right, Dan, is Facebook no longer deletes it after 10 minutes, right?
Okay, yeah, so there's two things here, and I just want to make sure I'm covering this, Scott. So the first one I did already mention, which is, let's say you schedule it for 5 p.m. Typically, if you hadn't gone live by 5:10 and you didn't reschedule the start, like you didn't change the start time at any point, Facebook would have deleted it at 5:10, so you can't be more than 10 minutes late. That has changed. So if you go live at 5:15 or something, you're actually still fine with the new flow, which is really nice. And we've kind of updated the messaging in our studio and everything for that. But there's also another one where you couldn't schedule it within the next 10 minutes. I can't remember if that one has changed or not. I'm pretty confident that also changed. So if you wanted to do a scheduled post 5 minutes from now, I think you can also do that now, which sounds kind of weird. Why would you want to do that? But the more common case is you maybe schedule it for 5 p.m. and then at 5:50 you realize, or sorry, at 4:50 you realize you're going to be 10 minutes late. You can update the start time, or a couple minutes before you can update the start time and move it a little bit ahead or a little bit back. Whereas you couldn't actually do that before because you couldn't schedule within the next 10 minutes, which was always kind of annoying for a few different reasons. So I think both of those limitations are now gone, which is pretty nice.
Awesome. All right, what else did we have here? I see a few questions about Instagram. So to be clear on Instagram, right now Instagram's policy is it only allows streaming directly from the Instagram app. There are sort of third-party tools that work around that, but we don't recommend them anywhere because it is against Instagram's policy. It's also a bit insecure because you're giving your credentials to sort of a third party that isn't approved by Instagram. But we do, like we mentioned, work really closely with Meta and Facebook, and are hopeful that they'll build out an approved official API in the future. And as soon as they do, we'll certainly support Instagram. All right, I think Stuart was confirming. Oh no, sorry, this was a different question, but I'll get back to the other one I missed. How hard would it be to upload assets to a brand folder but have them copied, used in another one without having to re-upload them?
Good question. Can I ask, actually, just a follow-up for you is, would it be useful if you could clone an entire brand? Would that solve it for you? Or is it just very specific assets you want to be able to move over? Because yeah, obviously that's not something we have now, but we've considered both of those things.
Yeah, absolutely. But technically it's certainly possible, Stuart. But yeah, the clarification would be useful. Yep. This was the one I was the clarification. So thanks, Mikey. I think specifically it was if you change a slide, instead of having to delete the slide deck and re-upload it, is there a way to edit an individual slide? And I believe that's possible if you're using Google Slides integration, but not if you upload it.
No, not right now. You'd have to kind of go through the flow again.
Gotcha.
Yeah, maybe let us know if that's what you mean, is say you're using the Google Slide integration, you change the Google Slide, can we pull that automatically into StreamYard? If that's what you mean, that I assume that is possible. We'll have to look at how possible it actually is. But
yeah, we don't do it now, Mike,
don't do it
but
now.
yeah, hopefully in the future.
And if I'm misunderstanding and it's not for Google Slides, but it's for PowerPoint also, maybe let me know. Because that would be, I don't know if that one would actually be possible. With Google Slides, it's likely possible. With PowerPoint or something, I'm not really sure how that one would work. Like if you changed the slides on PowerPoint on your computer, you'd have to do something in order to get that back into StreamYard. Whereas Google Slides, I think we could actually grab that automatically.
Cool. Let's see what else we had here. Pixelpia was asking, I assume regarding the live online events change, does the audience on Facebook still have to give permission? So I assume it's referring to groups, Pixelpia. So anyone that doesn't stream to groups do have an additional permission where for a viewer's comment, their name and their image, or just their image, their name and the image, right? The audience does have to give it additional permission to allow the broadcaster to see that. And that hasn't changed, right, Dan? That
has not changed, yeah. So a lot of the changes were related to scheduling. So the scheduling flow is different, but once you're actually live, the live experience itself is essentially the same. And if you're not scheduling at all, then nothing has changed at all. But yeah, when you are scheduling stuff, like the actual scheduling part is the really only difference.
Awesome. A question from traders. Do we have to reset Facebook as a destination, or does that take over automatically? So if you mean like the permissions, traders, it's automatic. So StreamYard will refresh that. You might be prompted to click a link to sort of refresh those permissions, but it's very seamless. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. We have quite a few more questions here, but we did have a couple things we wanted to quickly announce. So let me get to those really quick. And one of those was video trimming is coming soon. So for those of you that are using StreamYard recordings, hopefully this is an exciting change. So now after, so not now, but it's coming soon. After your live stream is over, you'll have the ability to trim out the beginning and end of the video, and we'll have more information on that in the coming weeks. But yeah, hopefully that's an exciting change, and we'll continue adding more functionality around it as time goes on too.
Cool. Yeah, excited to get into more detail on it next week.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you missed it, we mentioned last week there was a change to recording deletions, and for people that broadcast really, really frequently is likely who it might apply to the most. But previously to this change, actually, you probably are better at describing.
I can explain it. Yeah, for sure. So, as a lot of you know, storage is permanent. So if you go live, we'll save your recordings, and then we save up to 50 hours of content, and you can purchase more if you want. So if you stream a lot, you can always get more storage. But then there's also some people, you maybe don't care as much about the recordings, or you download them really quickly, so you don't really need them saved for all that long. In that case, and if any of you have had this before, you'll know what I'm talking about, where you have to go to the videos section and then delete a bunch of recordings. And, you usually only have to do it once in a while, so it's not that bad. But we figured for some of you folks that want to delete stuff pretty often and really just care about the recording for the purpose of downloading shortly after the stream, we did have a setting, or we did add there's a setting in the Teams setting on the dashboard where you can basically say, I want old recordings to be automatically deleted when I go live. So if you do hit that storage limit of 50 hours, when you go live, we will delete the very oldest recordings automatically. And that way you never have to worry about manually kind of freeing up your storage and deleting stuff yourself. So for anyone who is smashing into that 50-hour limit and is, having to delete stuff every week or two, you might want to turn this on. So it's just on the dashboard, team settings in the bottom left corner, and then there's a way to turn it on. I don't think most people will need it, but for those of you that need it, it's quite useful.
Absolutely. Hey, Charles, hope you're doing well. Question, can you have it when the music plays, then you do a video, the music mutes on/off? So correct me if I'm misunderstanding the question, Charles, but I'm understanding it as you'd like something where you can sort of sequence events to happen, where it's like, okay, play this music, then do the video, and then as the video ends, do something. Is that how you understand the question, Dan?
I think so, yeah, kind of setting up some kind of sequence as far as automated.
So if that's not what you mean, Charles, definitely let us know. So we obviously don't have that now, but as we've alluded to in the past, those are the types of things that we're trying to build more sophisticated functionality under the hood for people that are interested in sort of changing that at that level of granularity. We are working on some new flows that I think are pretty exciting. So stay tuned on that. Mortgage Classroom from Tim Lamb says, can I use StreamYard as a webinar instead of Zoom? If possible, any resources to learn how? Yeah, it's a great question, Tim. It also is one of the topics we had for tonight. So maybe I'll do that topic right after this. So you've got a few options there. So there are quite a few people that we actually do this for our own webinars. I should I'll link the webinar after this.
I can grab it.
Okay, cool. Dan will link it in the chat. But we actually use StreamYard to do our own webinars. And what we do is an unlisted YouTube stream. So you can use StreamYard, schedule an unlisted YouTube stream, and then use the scheduled link that is generated to basically send that webinar out to your email list, or even embed it into your own website behind some sort of paywall if you want to do that. It is obviously, when you're using YouTube, you have less flexibility when it comes to things like registration and whatnot with Zoom. So it depends on your needs, but it can be a good solution if you're trying to do a webinar where you maybe don't need that level of sophistication. You rather just have like a super reliable hosting platform like YouTube. But it does work really well if your needs, if YouTube does meet those level of needs. We are interested in adding more webinar functionality, so would be curious if that's something you would be interested in doing, is essentially using StreamYard as using StreamYard to do more webinars. And one of the questions we had tonight was how many of you are actually using webinar tools, and do you ever use StreamYard in some relationship with those webinar tools? So definitely let us know. And in terms of resources, Tim, I do think we have quite a few help docs on it. So if you go to StreamYard.com/contact, there's the live chat, but also in that same widget of the live chat, if you just type in webinar, I think quite a few docs and resources will pop up that can walk you through that.
And Dana just linked it in the chat as well.
Cool. So yeah, I think the flow we do for the webinar is very cool. It's not a completely fair comparison because we did do some custom stuff on top of it to make it work. That includes like signing up and the email. So it's not exactly like you'd have to do a decent amount of work to get that exact flow, but we do use StreamYard to do webinars.
Yep.
All right. Claire says, is there a way of highlighting particular banners to make them stand out? Like if you want to make sure you don't miss something. So we have something specifically for that for comments. So you can actually star comments and save them to make sure you don't miss them. I'm actually using it right now. We don't have the same thing for banners. It's an interesting request. We'll definitely think about it.
What I would consider too for banners, because obviously those are a little different. Like comments are coming in real time. You want to be able to like flag them or star them throughout the show. With banners, if you really want to make sure you don't forget something, I'd almost consider putting them like, because you can drag and drop them to reorder. So I almost feel like, say there's 3 things you want to make sure you touch on, maybe have those be the top 3 banners. And then you could almost have a banner that's just like an empty gap or a few of those. So those ones kind of really stand out at the top. And then at the end, just remember to go back and, okay, did I remember to cover these 3 main things? There might be a way to kind of drag and drop things around so that it works for you, so that you don't forget to touch on them. But yeah, we don't have star banners or anything like that. Be curious if that's something others would want.
Absolutely. All right. We have lots of questions here. Really appreciate it. I think if we run out of time, we'll definitely have to write some of these down so we make sure we address them next time. While we get to the last ones here, I want to make sure we don't miss the giveaway. Dan, should we go ahead and cue it up?
We shall.
I guess before I forget one other thing I want to quickly mention. Vid Summit is coming right up, and the team's going to be there. It will be a ton of fun. Joanne's actually flying out tomorrow for it. So if you're at Vid Summit, definitely stop by. It'd be great to chat.
Cool. Is that Los Angeles?
Yep, in Los Angeles. Sweet. I don't remember the name of the actual venue, but it's in LA.
Cool.
Let's see.
All right, everyone. This is our giveaway. So for anyone who's never seen this before, please type in #TheYard in the chat if you want to enter the giveaway. And what are we giving away, Gage?
Yeah, let's give away tonight. We'll give away the StreamYard plush duck, and we'll give away the StreamYard pillow as well. I think I've got a picture of the pillow. Let me just double check. Yeah, the pillow's on the right side there, and Dan just showed the duck. So yeah, we'll give you a 15-20 seconds or so to get in your #the yards. And if you're ever interested in doing one of these yourself, you're on your own, we've made this available at StreamYard.com/giveaway. There's a tutorial on that page on exactly how it works, but you can do exactly what we're doing now for your own giveaway if you are interested.
Cool.
And Joanne says, any way to save comments to include with a recorded video? So I mean, anything you show on screen, Joanne, is, as you might already know, is in the output video file because it's saved into it. But we currently don't save comments from the social platforms. I think it's a great request if that's what you're asking. If not, definitely let us know. But in the future, maybe we'll be able to do that. I do think there's also some sort of privacy and rules involving that we would need to dive deeper into. But I think it is a cool request.
Yeah, I'd be curious as well, Joanne. When you say you want comments saved, is that in the video itself? So almost like the comments are part of the stream, or is it more just, we save them somewhere and we can kind of replay them for you, or even just, in some kind of file you can download to see them all later? Maybe let us know. All right, shall we do this?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, for the plush duck and the pillow. Good luck, everyone.
Nazrul, congrats. Thanks so much for hanging out with us tonight. You just won the plush duck and the StreamYard pillow. Dana will reach out to you on Facebook to get your contact information and ship you your duck and your pillow. Congrats again.
Congrats.
There's tons of awesome feedback here on the webinar stuff. So I'll have to go back through that. I really appreciate all the insights there. Very, very cool. Stuff like here from Frank, very useful to know, likes the idea of moving away from it and is more interested in doing more stuff with streaming and mobile devices.
Cool.
Ministerio says, will you ever add more transitions for overlays? Yes, we definitely want to add more functionality around overlays and similar to what I mentioned with the previous question around sort of sequencing things that happen. We've got some really exciting stuff that we're testing and working on the design team to add sort of more flexibility around things like that. So stay tuned on that. We have time for a couple more here. Feedback from Stuart says, we have many readers and have to upload their overlays every week. It would be good to upload them all into a folder, but use only those we need for a specific stream.
Okay.
You have any thoughts on that one, Dan?
No, I mean, it's good to know. So yeah, nothing coming soon for that, I would say, but it's great to get this feedback because we're always trying to obviously make the experience as good as possible. So yeah, good to know.
Cool. Pixelpia says, request, I would love to have a whiteboard function integrated with SY. Good to know, Pixelpia. I definitely think at some point it would be nice for us to have more integrations in general. And I know there's lots of great whiteboard products like that. I would be curious if you do use one already that you'd be keen on integrating with SY, or you would just like to have something like that directly in SY.
Yeah. Would you want something full featured like, Miro or one of those types of things, or just like a really basic one built right into StreamYard?
Cool. Let's see what else we have here. Dave says, would be great to download comments as a CSV. Yes, totally agree. If we were able to store them, which we're going to continue looking into, I think that'd be a great feature. Frederick says, plans of removing or adding limits in the brands. So there is currently a limit on brands. We're always open to increasing limits. It's just generally good to have something in place in case, someone just decides to upload an insane number of something, but we're always open to increasing it, especially if folks are bumping into it. So Frederick, if you are bumping into it, would be curious to know that. It sounds like maybe you're just checking if there is a limit.
Yep. And we're not planning to make them more strict in any way.
Yeah, absolutely.
So if anything, they'll just be like more lenient, more things. Yeah, if you are running into a specific one, let us know.
Awesome. So many, so much great feedback here on the webinars and questions. So we'll have to go back and check through all of these. But with that, this was episode 194 of the StreamYard Live Town Hall. We'll see you all next week at the same time. Thank you all so much for hanging out with us. And hopefully we'll see a few of you over at VidSummit.
Cool. Always a pleasure, everyone. See you next week.